You know, most people have no idea how big this industry actually is. They think OnlyFans is just some platform for creators to post pictures, but what they don't realize is that this is one of the fastest growing digital economies on the planet. And right now, it's not just content, it's attention, it's influence, and it's direct to consumer monetization. And it's exploding at a rate that is almost unmatched by any other online business model. I run an OnlyFans management agency, and to put it simply, I help creators scale their pages. I build systems around their brand, handle marketing, manage their chats, and take a percentage of the results that we generate together. And in exchange, we give them back their time, we build their fan base, and we turn their content into a business that grows month after month. And to put this into perspective, my agency has done $750,000 in the last 30 days. That's not a made up number, that's real revenue, real creators, and real systems. It's what happens when you understand where the world is heading and position yourself early. Because here's the thing, the creator economy is not slowing down. It's actually accelerating at a rapid rate, and OnlyFans is still growing. The number of creators joining every single day is rapidly increasing. The money being spent by fans every single month is breaking new records. And what most people still don't get is that we're early, and extremely early. This opportunity right now is the digital equivalent of getting into Bitcoin in 2011. Everyone ignored it back then. Everyone laughed at it, and the people who actually paid attention, the ones who realized what was coming, built generational wealth. And the same thing is happening right now in the OnlyFans ecosystem. The attention is there, the money is there, and the systems to scale are being built right now by the people who actually understand marketing, systems, and leverage. Here's what's crazy. This entire industry is still operating like it's in 2019. Most creators still have no idea what they're doing. They're posting content, maybe sending a few messages, running a couple of promos, but they don't understand how to actually turn the vast attention they have into money. They don't understand data, systems, traffic, or customer lifetime value. They're operating like hobbyists, in a space that's already producing millionaires. And that's why management agencies actually exist, because the opportunity isn't just for the creators, it's for the operators, the ones who know how to build infrastructure, hire teams, optimize chatting systems and automate the workflows, and use marketing psychology to maximize the sales. And that's what OnlyFans management is. It's not sleazy, it's not guesswork, it's performance marketing, it's brand building, it's systemization. And when people hear OnlyFans management, they think it's about chatting to fans, and that's just 1% of the business. The real business is architecture, building a full machine that takes traffic from social platforms and converts it into subscribers and then monetizes that attention at scale. It's marketing, it's sales, it's psychology, it's creative direction, and it's leadership. It's a full-blown business model, and what's amazing is that it's one of the few models left that's still relatively untapped. And you don't need a huge startup capital, you don't need to buy inventory, and you don't need an existing audience. What you need is systems, skills, and execution. And you can start with nothing but a laptop and Wi-Fi. You can learn the fundamentals, build your network, and scale from 0 to 6 figures if you're consistent. And that's what makes it so powerful. Look at it logically. Every single day, more creators are joining OnlyFans, more traffic is flowing into the platform, and the total global spend is going up. In 2024 alone, the site paid out over $10 billion to creators. That number's only going to grow. The market is expanding so fast that even if you capture 1/1000th of it, you're still making serious money, and that's how big this opportunity is. And think about this, in most industries, competition kills profits, but in this one, competition actually validates the demand because attention online is infinite. There's no ceiling. The number of people consuming content isn't going down, it's simply multiplying. People are glued to their screens 24/7, and OnlyFans has mastered the art of turning that attention into emotional connection, and emotional connection into transactions. And that's the beauty of it. It's not just content, it's intimacy at scale. It's psychology, habit loops, and digital relationships that convert consistently. And when you understand that from a business perspective, you realize this isn't going away. This is the new entertainment economy. And if you can operate in it, you'll always have leverage. Most people overlook this bit because of, stigma. They hear OnlyFans and think it's something to stay away from, but that's exactly why it's such a massive opportunity. It's the same thing as, people laughing at crypto before it exploded. It's the same as people saying the internet was a fad. Whenever there's a stigma around a booming industry, it just means the gold rush is still in its early stages. And by the time everyone accepts it, the money's already been made. And that's where OFM sits right now. Before mainstream recognition, before heavy corporate takeover, before automation dominates the space, it's still human driven, high margin, and open to anyone with ambition and skill. And that's what makes it so special. Let's talk about how the model actually works, okay? When you manage a creator, you handle everything that drives revenue. So you optimize their profile, you create strategy around their content, you handle communication with fans, and you build systems for traffic. You can either use organic marketing like Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, and Twitter, or you can combine combine it with paid promo to bring in consistent new subscribers. Once those subscribers are in, the chatting systems turn them into high value customers. You control the whole process from discovery all the way through to conversion, and that's what separates the amateurs in the space from professionals. So the amateurs will simply guess and the professionals will measure using data. So we track conversion rates, retention rates, upsell percentages, renewals, PPV open rates, everything. Because when you have the data, you can optimize, and when you optimize, you scale. And when you scale, the numbers compound fast. That's how you go from one creator doing a few thousand a month to a full roster generating hundreds of thousands. It's not luck, it's just systems. And the craziest part is how efficient it is. And traditional businesses run at 10 to 20% profit margins. And in OFM, you can hit 60 to 70% margins because there's no physical product, no shipping, no ad spend unless you choose to. And it's digital, lean, and it's scalable. And you can run it from anywhere in the world, like Thailand. And that's why I always say OFM is the perfect model for the new era. It's global, automated, and extremely profitable. Now, when I say we made 750K in the last 30 days, understand what that really means. That's not me sitting at a desk trading time for money. That's a team of chatters, editors, marketers, and managers all operate inside a system that runs like a machine. Every creator has structure, every day has metrics, every process has SOPs, and that's what it takes to scale. And once it's built, it runs with minimal effort. That's how you buy your time back. That's what people don't understand about building leverage online, and they think it's about just working harder, but it's not. It's about building smarter systems. It's about multiplying your effort through people, automation, and processes. And OFM teaches you that skill set. It forces you to learn marketing, sales, leadership, and data analysis all at once. It's like running a crash course in entrepreneurship with real cash flow attached to it. And even if you didn't want to stay in space forever, the skills you develop translate into every other industry. Once you know how to acquire customers, convert them, and retain them, you can simply make money in any business, anywhere, anytime. And that's a hidden benefit of OFM. You're not just building a business, you're building a set of elite digital skills that make you future-proof. Now let's talk about timing. Every industry goes through 3 phases: discovery, acceleration, and then saturation. Right now, OnlyFans is still in acceleration. Discovery's already happened, people know about it, the creators are joining, but the systems and infrastructure are still wide open for the taking in. That's where management agencies win, because we're the ones building the back-end structure, that supports the boom. And in 2, maybe 3 years, this space will look completely different. Big corporate firms will get involved, the margins will shrink, and automation will take over a lot of the day-to-day activities and operations. But right now, it's still relationship-based. It's still human-driven, and that's why this window of opportunity is so rare. You're operating in a market with global scale, digital distribution, and minimal competition at the top level. Most people will miss it because they're waiting for permission or they want some sort of certainty. But people who win in these cycles are the ones who move before everyone else understands the value, and that is simply what I did. That's what my team did. We built systems early, learned psychology, refined the structure, and now we're scaling into multiple 6 and 7-figure months. And look, I'm not saying this is easy, it's not. You have to build systems, manage people, stay consistent, and lead from the front, but the rewards are life-changing. You're not building another 9 to 5, you're building digital leverage. You're building something that makes money while you sleep, that grows when you're not online, that compounds month after month, and that is what people need to understand. The future belongs to those who build systems around attention. The creator economy is here to stay. It's only going to get bigger, more professional, and more profitable. And right now, OnlyFans management sits at the center of that explosion. If you look at the trends, the creator economy is expected to surpass $500 billion within the next few years. And that means there will be an entire ecosystem of marketers, managers, editors, and strategists supporting that growth. Agencies that build correctly now will dominate later. It's the same as early YouTube agencies, early Instagram growth companies, or early TikTok talent managers. The early movers always win. And that's why I keep saying this is like getting into Bitcoin in 2011. Everyone else is sleeping on it. Everyone else is ignoring it. But the ones who act now will be the ones everyone talks about 5 years from now. So if you're still on the fence about whether OFM is a real opportunity, understand this. I've seen both sides. I've seen people sitting in jobs they hate, that was me, earning average money, waiting for change. And I've seen people who took this model seriously, learned the game, executed properly, and built complete freedom in under a year. It's not about luck, it's about awareness and action. The opportunity is right in front of you. You just have to move before the world catches up. The creator economy is rewriting how people make money online. OnlyFans is just the first wave. There'll be more platforms, more monetization methods, methods, more tools, and more creators. And look, it's still early enough for you to jump in, build a business, and own a piece of the attention economy before it becomes fully corporate. That's what OFM represents: freedom, leverage, timing, and skill. It's not just another online hustle, it's a full-scale business opportunity sitting in plain sight. The only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is execution. The ones who act now, learn the systems, and build the infrastructure are the ones who look back a few years from now and realize they were a part of the biggest digital revolution of their generation. This isn't the future, it's already here. The question is whether you're going to sit on the sidelines and watch it happen, or position yourself to be a part of it while the window's still open. So let's talk about how I actually scaled to $750K per month. Now, when people see that my agency did $750,000 in the last 30 days, the first thing they think is he got lucky. But the truth is, luck had nothing to do with it. What actually got me here was obsession. Obsession with learning, testing, and refining every single part of the process until it became a machine. I didn't just wake up one day and start making hundreds of thousands a month. I spent weeks studying this industry, inside and out, before I made a single move. Before I even started my agency, I did something most people skip. I researched the entire industry. I went deep into what the top creators were doing. I then also analyzed their content, their traffic, their pricing structures, their upsells, even the psychology behind how they interacted with fans. I wanted to understand why the top 1% was so successful. Not just, what they were doing, but the thinking behind it, because success leaves clues. And when you collect enough of them, you can start building systems that replicate those exact results. And what I do is I study their pages late at night, posting schedules, read their comments, and reverse engineer how their teams worked. I was looking for patterns and what they were doing consistently that others weren't. And what I realized was that most creators weren't failing because of lack of content. They were simply failing because they didn't understand business. They didn't understand what a funnel was, positioning, traffic, or retention, and that's where the opportunity was. So from that foundation, I just started brainstorming, what my ideal client avatar looked like, not just any creator, but the exact type of model I wanted to work with. One who took it seriously, who already had, potential and wanted to scale like a business, not like a side hustle or a hobby. And I defined what they looked like, how they thought, what problems they faced, and what they valued most. I mapped out their pain points and what would actually make them say yes for me offering them help. And that step alone changed everything, because once you know exactly who you're speaking to, everything becomes 10 times easier. Then I started building my brand around that exact avatar. I wanted my entire online presence to attract those kind of creators. Every post, every video, every caption was built with one goal in mind: to become the most trustworthy and valuable voice in the OFM space. I knew that if I could become the authority, the right creators would come to me instead of me chasing them. So I started posting value reels every day. No excuses, no missed days. Every day I'd share insights about the industry, tips on scaling, mistakes creators were making, and small pieces of value that showed I actually understood the game. I wasn't trying to go viral. That wasn't the goal. I was trying to build trust, because once people trust you, the entire business changes. Then those daily value posts were what built my authority. They were simple but consistent, and consistency beats everything. Most people post for a week, get no traction, and give up. I did it for months straight. Every single day I showed up. I gave value, I improved my delivery, I refined my message, and slowly creators started to take notice. They started seeing me as the go-to person for scaling in systems, and that's how you build credibility. Not through followers, not through fake numbers, through consistency and proof of knowledge. And once I had that authority starting to build, I focused on my offer. This was one of the most important parts. I knew that if I wanted to scale fast, I needed to create an offer that was irresistible, something creators couldn't say no to. So I looked at what every other agency was offering and realized they were doing the same thing: vague promises, no structure, and no clarity on the results. So I flipped it. I built an offer that solved their biggest pain points directly and made it impossible to say no. My offer focused on removing all the things that creators hated doing and maximizing the things that actually made them money. It wasn't about me, it was about them. It was about helping them grow faster with more structure, less stress, and more consistency. And when you build an offer that genuinely solves problems and you can communicate that clearly, sales then becomes easy. And after I built that offer, I started outreach. But here's where it got strategic. I didn't just start messaging random people. I used my personal brand as leverage, because by that point, creators already knew who I was. They'd seen my content and they'd seen how I spoke about the industry as a whole. So my messages didn't come from some faceless agency. They came from a trusted authority, and that's what made the difference. So when I first started doing outreach, I quickly realized that this was a numbers game mixed with precision. So I crafted my outreach message carefully. I tracked how people opened it, how many replied, and how many booked calls. I looked at the KPIs every single day: open rate, response rate, close rate, and I changed my message constantly based on the data. So if something wasn't performing, I tweaked the wording, and if something got more replies, I doubled down. Now, for months, I treated outreach like a science. I didn't rely on relying on emotions or guesswork. I relied on purely the data, and that's the thing most people miss. They think outreach is about sending DMs. It's not. It's about testing, refining, and evolving until you've built a message that converts consistently. So I've been doing this for over a year now, and that data is gold. Every single change I made was tracked. I know exactly what tone works best, what structure gets the highest open rates, what call to actions lead to the most calls booked, and that process of refining is what allowed me to book multiple calls every single day for months on end, on autopilot. But here's the thing, booking calls is only half the battle, the real money is made on the calls themselves, and that's where I realized I needed to level up even more. So I started studying sales and psychology relentlessly. I wanted to understand how people make decisions, what triggers trust, and what creates urgency, and how to close without pressure. So I read books, I studied high ticket closes, I listened to hours of recorded calls, and broke down every mistake I made. And every single call became a lesson. If someone didn't close, I'd go back and figure out why. Was it the objection? Was it the offer? Was it the framing? Was it me not leading confidently enough? I'd take notes, adjust, and apply the lesson immediately on the next call. And over time, the close rate skyrocketed. At first, it took dozens of calls to get traction, but once I mastered the flow, it became consistent. And that's how I signed my first 3 creators, and those 3 changed everything, because once I had results, I had proof, and once you have proof, it compounds. And those 3 became testimonials, and those testimonials became credibility, and that credibility became leverage. And after signing those initial creators, I went all in on refining every part of the process. I built better onboarding systems, I improved communication, I hired better chatters, and I started tracking every metric across the agency. Every message, every conversion, and every dollar made, all tracked. Because when you can measure it, you can improve it. And the reason we've hit $750,000 a month is because every single part of the business has been built on data, not emotion. And every process is tested, optimized, and refined. Nothing is random, nothing is left to chance. And I know what content drives traffic, I know what messaging converts, and I know what systems retain subscribers. Now, that's not luck, that's engineering, right? And I want to make this clear. There was no secret hack or viral moment that made this work. It was just repetition, refinement, and relentless execution. Most people are always chasing the next trick. I focused on mastering the fundamentals and understanding the model, building systems, communicating value, and executing daily. That's it. The creator economy is full of opportunity, but most people approach it emotionally. They do something for, say, a week and don't see results and quit. I treated it like a business from day one. I built infrastructure before I built anything else. I built systems before I built scale. And because of that, when growth came, it didn't break anything, it amplified everything. And if you want to build something big in this space, you have to think long term. You can't chase fast results. You have to build systems that compound, reinvest in your business. And you have to understand that success comes from repetition, from doing the same boring things consistently until they start producing extraordinary outcomes. And that's what scaling actually looks like. And to be honest, what I've learned through all of this is that the people who win in this game aren't the ones who move the fastest. No. They're the ones who refine the deepest. They're the ones who are obsessed with the detail. They test, track, and improve until there's nothing left to guess. And that's how you scale. And look, when I look back now, I can see exactly why this worked. I didn't try to build everything at once. I built one thing at a time. First, it was research. Then it was content. Then it was the offer. Then outreach. Then sales. Then systems. Every stage had a purpose. Every step built the foundation for the next. And that's how you build a business that doesn't crumble when you scale. 750K a month didn't come from some viral moment. It came from stacking small wins for a year straight. It came from showing up every single day when nobody was watching, when people simply didn't believe in me. And it came from caring about the data, about the systems, about the people. It came from leadership, consistency, and standards. I didn't just want to make money. I wanted to build something world class. I wanted to build a machine that could scale without me, one that could operate globally 24/7 with structure, discipline, and excellence at every level. And that's what we're doing now, and that is why we are winning. This industry rewards those who take it seriously. It rewards the ones who think like CEOs, not just some freelancer, and it rewards structure, execution, and speed. And if you understand the psychology of attention and pair it with the systems of business, you can build something massive in a fraction of the time it takes in any other industry. That's exactly how I scaled. It wasn't one big breakthrough. It was the combination of hundreds of micro optimizations made over time with precision and discipline. So research, content, offer, outreach, data, sales, systems, repeat, refine, scale. That's the blueprint. That's how you turn an idea into a multi-6 or 7-figure machine a month. Now, most people underestimate how far you can go with simple things done well. But if you can master the fundamentals, the results take care of themselves. See, that's what I've learned building this agency. And it's why we've scaled faster than almost anyone else in the space that I know. So when I had those first few creators, my entire focus was on mastering two things: traffic and chatting. Traffic to bring new subscribers in, and chatting to maximize revenue once they were in. If you can master those two pillars, you can build $1 million agency. Everything else is built on top of that foundation. And traffic is the lifeblood of OnlyFans, and without new subscribers, it doesn't matter how good your content is or how well you chat, the business flatlines. So I made it my mission to master traffic systems. I tried everything: paid promo, organic growth, Reddit funnels, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, even cross promos between creators. And I didn't just test one method and hope for the best. I tested everything, tracked everything, and doubled down on what worked. Most people guess, and I tracked every single day. I looked at cost per subscriber, conversion rate from the source, and engagement rate, subscriber quality, retention. I built dashboards, charts, and reports just to see what traffic streams actually delivered loyal paying fans. Because you can send 1,000 visitors from the wrong place and make nothing, but 100 from the right funnel can change a creator's life. And I started noticing patterns between niches. Fitness creators perform differently to cosplayers, for example. Podcast creators had a completely different audience behavior from a thirst trap model, and I realized that you can't just copy and paste traffic system across all creators. You need to tailor it. So I started building what I call niche traffic systems, frameworks, designed specifically for each vertical. And for example, fitness and yoga creators performed best with reels showing movement and physique and something visually aesthetic that hooks the audience emotionally, whereas podcast creators needed controversial, opinion-based clips that triggered engagement and, a curiosity. And thirst trap models thrived on frequency and visual pattern disruption, short, high contrast clips that stopped people mid-scroll, and each type required a different visual leverage. So I built a system around it, and each new creator that joined the agency would go through a full traffic analysis. We'd look at their niche, their personality, their best performing content, and then match them with a traffic system that fit their strengths. And that's what allowed us to scale quickly. We didn't guess, we used data, and every decision we made was backed by numbers, not emotions. And while I was refining those traffic systems, I was also doubling down on chatting, because traffic brings people in, but chatting is what prints the money. It's the heartbeat of the business. Most agencies underestimate how deep chatting psychology really goes. They think it's just messaging fans, but it's actually sales, psychology, and relationship management rolled into one. So I started breaking down every part of the chatting process, the opening message, the tone, the follow-ups, the upsells, the price points, the time of day, the response delay, everything. I tracked performance across different chatters and then built out training frameworks to essentially teach them exactly how to sell emotionally, not just transactionally, because people don't buy content, they're buying the connection. And we started introducing fan labels, custom engagement strategies, and emotional triggers. And I created scripts that weren't robotic but flexible, and the goal was to make every fan feel seen and understood while still driving consistent revenue. And once we had those systems documented, it meant that every new chatter could essentially be trained quickly and effectively. And that's how you scale chatting, through process. And once I had those things mastered, traffic and chatting, the next step was scaling myself out the equation. Because look, no matter how good you are, if you're the bottleneck, you'll never grow. And that's why I started focusing on my hiring process. I realized that to scale from 5 creators to 50, I needed people who could replicate my systems without dropping service quality. And hiring in OFM is tricky. Most people hire fast and end up with chaos. And I did it the other way around. I spent months refining my hiring framework. I created role-specific tests, situational assessments, and training pathways for every position. Chatters, relationship managers, editors, and creative directors, and every person that joined had to go through a trial period where we tracked their performance, we tracked their communication, and also ability to follow systems. I didn't want people who just followed orders. I wanted people who understood the mission. Because look, culture is everything, and if your team doesn't care about excellence, then your service delivery will fall apart the second you start to scale. And that is why I prioritized hiring people with, the right mindset over the right CV. And skills can be taught, standards can't. And as the team grew, I built internal management systems to make sure every part of the business stayed aligned. Daily check-ins, performance dashboards, Discord automations, weekly review calls, everything tracked. Every creator had their own metrics. Every chatter had KPIs. Every system had accountability. Because the second you stop tracking is the second you stop scaling. And this is where most agencies fail. They try to scale without building infrastructure. They sign too many models too fast and their service delivery collapses. And that's the difference between, scaling revenue and scaling been a shit show. I wanted to scale results, not scale problems, and that's why I built systems that could deliver the same results across multiple creators simultaneously. Every part of the business was modular: traffic systems, chat systems, relationship management, all plug and play. That's what allowed us to go from a few creators to 50 without service quality dropping. Now, traffic was still the core engine of growth, but what really separated us from everyone else was how deep we went into analyzing it. I didn't just want volume, I wanted quality. So we started testing every possible traffic source: Instagram Reels, TikTok virality, Reddit funnels, YouTube Shorts, paid promos, paid ads, shoutouts. We tested all of it. We tracked how each platform, performed in each niche, what the average conversion rate was, and what the cost per subscriber came to, and what the retention rate looked like after 30 days. And over time, we built a database of what traffic sources work best for each category of creator. And that meant we could tailor our strategy from day one. No guessing, no wasting money, just pure efficiency. And that kind of precision is what built the foundation for $750,000 a month, because the difference between a creator making $5K a month and $50K a month is almost always traffic, consistency, and retention. And once we had that down, we just repeated it over and over again at scale. And now scaling that level of revenue requires one more thing that most people ignore, and that is service delivery. And everyone talks about marketing and sales, but service delivery is what keeps the money flowing. If you can't deliver at scale, your agency simply collapses the moment you grow. So I made it my priority to make service delivery world class. Every creator had a dedicated relationship manager. We tracked communication frequency, satisfaction levels, feedback loops, and even emotional tone in chats. I wanted every creator to feel seen, supported, and understood, because if your creators are happy, they'll stay longer, perform better, and refer others. We built a referral system that rewards creators for introducing new talent. And some of our creators make an extra $5,000 a month from just referrals alone. It's a win-win. They get rewarded, and we get more clients that come in pre-qualified and already trust us. And that's how you create compounding growth without spending extra on any marketing. But to make that work, your service delivery has to be elite. You can't fake quality. Creators won't refer you unless they love the experience. And that's why I always say, before you even think about scaling, master retention. If your churn rate is high, your agency is leaking money faster than it's earning it. So I studied how to improve retention. I built relationship management systems, feedback surveys, and internal escalation protocols. And if a model ever had an issue, it was handled fast. The goal was to solve problems before they became frustrations. That's how you keep churn low and satisfaction high. This was the turning point. So once we had mastered acquisition, service delivery, and retention, business became a self-sustaining machine. New creators were coming in, old creators were staying longer, and referrals were compounding growth, and it was a flywheel. Now each part feeding to the next. And the truth is, scaling to $750K a month isn't about doing 1,000 things. It's about doing a few things, but exponentially well. Traffic, chatting, hiring, service delivery, and retention. Those things are the pillars. And look, when each of those is optimized, the results speak for themselves. The systems we've built are what made it possible to scale without any chaos. Everything is documented, tested, and repeatable. If someone leaves, the system still runs, and if we onboard new staff, they follow the same playbook. That's how we maintain consistency across hundreds of creators. The crazy part is that most of this wasn't built overnight. It was refined over time through data, and every week we review what worked and what didn't. We adjust our scripts, tweak our traffic strategy, test new messaging, change our funnels, all based on data. And I'm obsessed with numbers because, look, numbers don't lie, and emotion, on the other hand, is going to mislead you. Data won't. And that's why I've always operated. Test, measure, improve, repeat. That's been the mantra from day one. And now, after scaling to $750K a month, I'm in a position where I can help other people achieve the same results without the months of trial and error that I had to go through, because the systems are already built. It's literally plug and play at this point. And when someone joins, they get access to everything: the outreach templates, the traffic systems, the chat psychology frameworks, the hiring SOPs, the onboarding sequences, the referral systems, all of it. They don't have to guess or spend months trying to figure it out. It's all been tested, refined, and proven to work. And that's the point. It's not just about building an agency, it's about building a machine that runs on data, psychology, and consistency. Going from 3 creators to $750K a month wasn't easy, but it was predictable. Every milestone was the result of refinement. And when traffic hit a ceiling, I improved the content systems. When chatting plateaued, I restructured training. When operations got heavy, I built hiring frameworks. So every challenge had a process-based solution. And that's what people need to understand. The growth isn't random, it's engineered. You don't hope your agency scales, you design it to do so. So when people ask me how I got here, I always tell them the same thing. I mastered acquisition, I mastered delivery, I mastered retention. That's it, that's the formula. It's not glamorous, but it works. We've built something that produces predictable, scalable results month after month, and it's all based on fundamentals. Traffic systems that bring in the right people, chatting systems that maximize maximize revenue, hiring systems maintain quality, and relationship systems that keep the clients happy. And that's how you scale from 3 creators to 750K a month, not through luck, not through some guesswork, but through structure, data, and discipline. And now everything we've built, every SOP, every framework, every system can be replicated by anyone willing to put in the work. The blueprint is done, the results are proven, it's literally plug and play. That's how I've done it, that's how we've scaled, and that's why this is just the beginning. Now, if you drew some value from this video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, or drop a comment, let me know what you want to see next. I'll also answer any questions. If you want to learn more about what we do, click the link below. You can book in a free consultation call, or you can head over to my Instagram at Dylan Frano, and we can have a conversation there with the DM, see if we can maybe help you. So if you're a model or an agency looking to scale or just want a bit of free advice, hit me up on the Instagram or in the comment section. And yeah, thanks for listening. See you all in the next one. Peace.